let's get into game number 3. And we do have close positions in the top right-hand corner as the red Zerg. It is Ace or Scarlett. And Mike, you can take the bottom right one.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it's the blue Protoss player. It's Puck.
Gotta get that camera swirl, that's why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
It's because Roddy always shows me up every single time. Like, he always gets the good zooms, he gets the good angles, whatever it might be. I gotta catch up to him. And what do we see already?
Looks like maybe a Nexus first. Oh, actually, that's a gateway expand.
It's a gateway expand. Something I honestly haven't seen Puck do.
Yeah, I think he's obviously prepared a lot for this. Usually we don't see a gateway expand, but if you practice it, I think Protoss can come out with any build.
Important to note, it is a 12 gate. Normally you go 13 gate. You do double chrono boost on your probes, but he's getting his gateway out a little bit earlier. It doesn't necessarily mean too much because it can be stylistic, just playing very safe, but we got to just put it in there that if he chooses to go 4 gate, it will be seconds faster. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Double assimilator being placed down, then the next one will be a pylon base. So whenever you do this, it's obviously you're just playing more of the standard type. Get your double gases, really prioritizing a lot of minerals. As you can see, only 1 on gas, 2 on gas probably, and that's going to be it. Saturate your main base and then take your expansion as soon as possible. For Scarlett, this is a hatch first, right?
Yeah, this was a hatch first. It's a pretty good opening. It actually isn't that much better than pool first, so it's not going to impact anything that much. But still, it's a slightly better. You have a tiny bit more larvae, I think.
Yeah, it's probably like 1 or 2. That's what it feels like. It kind of gets mitigated by the queens, right? And also having double queens.
The queens mitigated a bit, but hatcheries produce larvae pretty fast, actually.
1 every 15 seconds, right?
I think so.
Obviously, incredibly fast. So we'll see. I mean, as you said, not big of a variation. We'll definitely keep an eye when she takes the 3rd base. I think that's a lot more important, as she is able to get a little bit lucky here. Get the Overlord to the perfect position. If those was cross positions, obviously, it would take a lot longer. And the Nexus is going to be thrown down.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused that Puck got the Zealot before the Nexus. That's a bit unusual these days. Usually Protoss can play safely and get away without making that Zealot. So
yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Normally we see Mothership Core and then Sentry. Right? And then just have the gateways in front and you're absolutely 100% comprehensive. Kind of makes me feel like he wants to put stuff out on the map a little bit earlier, but I'm not sure completely. Or even scout with... I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on everything. But no chrono boost being allocated towards the cybernetics core. You can see actually a lot of chrono is being saved up, though.
Lots of gas being saved by Puck as well. I'm interested. Maybe a Stargate will be coming out of him?
Yeah, maybe so. And there's going to be that full wall off. No!
Oh.
It's that pylon wall off yet again. Unfortunate, but it's not like there's tech behind this.
Well, I think there's going to be some tech behind this, though. Either that or a lot of sentries coming out. Maybe we'll just see a lot of sentries. Could be some kind of maybe a 6 gate or some kind of pressure like that. Normally, you don't want to get so many sentries if you're going for a 4 gate. If you do a 4 gate pressure, it's going to be mostly Zealot based usually. And if you're doing a defensive 4 gate, you don't need this much gas so early in the game. Yeah.
That's interesting because what do you actually read when you get into opponent's base and see that much chrono boost? Like, I don't even know what I would think if I saw that as a Zerg.
I don't think I'd read too much into it, actually, because if they're chrono boosting out, if they're planning on saving it for warp gates, they would have used it by now.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can make too much of a read. I think you just save it because you don't have the money to produce probes and chrono boost them out if you want to throw down the gateways that quickly.
Yeah. I guess the main thing that I would be scared of is like the double tap of warped in units, right? You can just chrono out every single warp gate.
And we do see another gateway thrown down by Puck now, so I think we might be seeing some kind of 6 or 7 gate pressure coming out.
And no 3rd just yet. Scarlett did do a double extractor at 5 minutes and double evolution chamber, so she won't have her upgrades or investments in this upcoming battle for a very, very long time. Mothership Core is right outside of vision, just trying to deny any units and creep, of course, if possible. 1-1 is going to be added down, along with metabolic boost, all at the same time.
I think Scarlett should be prepared for this pressure, too. When you send in an Overlord Scout and you see that many sentries, it usually means Protoss is planning on attacking you at some point.
Yeah, to just take advantage of, obviously, the sentries and how little units that exist on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as of course it grows, your sentries don't get nearly as good. But, of course, you need good trades. We'll see. Pylons are being thrown down everywhere.
Lots
I just
of
feel
spines
like...
going up now, too.
Oh. Okay, she made all the good reads. Could this be a third base, though?
It could be. Maybe Puck will start warping in some units and then start a third as soon as he sees what's up. I'm a bit surprised we haven't seen a hallucinated scout gone out yet from
That
Puck.
should be a big tell, actually, for Scarlett, right?
Yeah, still, this can kind of work against 5 spines, I feel. If Puck just warps in a couple rounds of units, you can kind of force field a lot, especially in this map. The spine crawlers now, after that patch a while ago, they kind of block the Zerg pathing as well. So it'd only take a couple force fields to block links from getting past the spine crawlers.
Zerglings will dart into the natural, doing a little bit of damage to the front lines. Going to have to warp in some units. Spine crawlers are over there. And look at this, big hallucinations of zealots. They're going to take the damage of the initial fight. And look at this. I love this positioning. Zerglings are going to just sprint on ahead and try to get a good surround, but they're getting a good surround of all hallucinated units.
From Scarlett, actually. You want to engage the gateway units when they're in range of the spine crawlers. So you kind of trap them and they can't move back from the spine crawlers, and then you get the damage from the lings and spines at the same time. But Scarlett lost a lot of Zerglings there without any spine crawler damage going down on Puck's units.
Well, now going in for round 2, the Zerglings were cleaned up at the natural base. Spine crawlers will be healed up by that transfused. It looks like the hallucinated zealots will elapse in time, making them completely useless.
Even more spines going down from Scarlett. She has a lot of spine crawlers right now. I don't think she'll die to this, but even if Puck doesn't manage to kill her, I think he's in a good spot as long as he doesn't overcommit, because she's lost so many links for almost nothing.
But 1-1 has finished, though, and that could be kind of the X factor going into this. As 1-1 links, I mean, we've seen it before where 1-1 and then 2-2 comes out, and if you are at 0-0, those Zerglings are like ultralisks. It's absolutely insane. Now taking out these pylons, this is perfect. It's still pushing the army back.
Yeah, it's still okay, though, against the 2-2 Zerglings, until they get to the ultralist stage, or until they have infestors. Because just Zerglings, even if you have 2-2, if the Protoss army is a lot bigger than you,
that's true.
With the force fields, you can kind of deal with them okay.
Yeah, definitely so. So we'll see. I mean, Puck, let's just look back at the infrastructure. You can see I like this. Templar Archives makes a ton of sense. He reads into it, says, you're going a Zergling upgrade style. I know there's probably going to be some sort of infestors popping out here pretty soon. If I can just go to High Templars, get the right composition, play defensive from here, or even try to attack in, stop your third from popping up, I'm going to be in a much, much better position.
This is actually the perfect thing that Puck's doing right now. He's throwing down a Forge, a Robo, and a Templar Archives. It'll give him 1 to 2 Archons probably, which will help against the Zerglings early. Then he's going to want to start pumping out the Immortals as quickly as he can. Because when you see this from Zerg, you know that Ultralisk are coming.
Oh, that's true. Of course, that makes a ton of sense. Dark Shrine going to pop out here as well, just to have a little bit of aggressive options. This is more stylistic, but I feel like, you know, Dark Shrines are so cheap these days, you might as well just get it always.
And Scarlett's Hive is actually incredibly late this game for a Zerg who's going 2-base Ultralisk.
Yeah, well, she didn't get +2 Carapace. That's important to note.
I think it's just because it's so expensive. She wanted to get the Infestors out, and +2 Carapace
225 gas, man.
225, that's a lot of gas to commit to it this early.
Thank you. I mean, I've been waiting, Mike, for someone to talk to about gas timings.
Again, I think part of this as well is because she saw that Puck, with his timing, didn't have a Forge. And the main reason you get +2 Carapace so quickly is to negate the +2 attack from Protoss players.
Precisely.
And if there's no +2 attack from Protoss, you don't need it as early.
It makes so much sense. And you can save that gas for other things. Like Infestors. That's one more Infestor.
That's like an Infestor in a hive.
God, it's like all the candy. Getting into an engagement here, you can see the Zealots still do a pretty good job. Nice force field.
I don't actually like how Scarlett's using these Zerglings.
Yeah.
She's lost. Can we check the resource loss tab actually? I feel like Scarlett's lost a lot.
Wow, 105, 109 units lost right now. And I want to get into that, but the Infestors did pop out here, unload some Infested Terrans. These are still pretty effective. I want to look at the units lost. Look at the units lost.
Yeah, I don't know about being pretty effective, though. Those Infested Terrans didn't do too much. I don't even know if they killed a unit.
Well, I'm saying they're still effective for the upgrades, but obviously they didn't do that much. But if you look at the units lost, don't look at it too much in terms of like the resources, but more so the larva. When you're on 2 base for this long, this is, let's say all of these were Zerglings, which it's not, but let's say all those are Zerglings, that's 50 larva at least that's coming out.
I think the biggest thing is that it slowed down Scarlett's third, and it slowed down her hive a ton. And when you're going for this kind of a play with the double upgrade links, you want a third base and you want to hive a bit earlier than we saw this game.
Yes.
Usually you'll want to start a hive by 10 minutes, and Scarlett started at 12 minutes just because of that pressure. And with Immortals already out and Archon Tech, and with the supply counts looking as there, I think Puck's in the perfect position.
Do you think Scarlett should keep going for these Ultras or switch over to something like Roach Hydra, play defensive, utilize the Infestors, and try to get Vipers out to do the composition that we've seen you do so many times? You fungal down the army, and then from there you just let your range units
I think if we
crush
saw
everything.
any switch from the Ultras, I think we'd either want to see Broodlords or Swarmers, actually. Because Roaches and Hydras are normally good, but Puck already has Psystorm. And if the Protoss has Psystorm and allows supply, it's hard for the Roach Hydra army to do much.
Definitely so. Definitely so. Makes a lot of sense. Now a fourth base going to come out here over in the top left-hand position. Pylons are being placed. I love this. Puck is being so active with just the probes and staying defensive. And look at this, even throwing down a pylon wall. I think this is one of the most underrated things that you can do as a Protoss player.
Puck has even done this better than a lot of Protoss players, because a lot of the time when I see this, Protoss has already maxed the 200 supply.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I want a pylon wall, so I'm going to make 6 pylons here. But Puck, he timed it so those are the pylons that got him to 200 supply, not just extra ones that don't do anything after that.
And most importantly, like, you'll see that a lot of times, and they're already maxed as well, so it's like you're pylon walling, and then you're also trying to push out at the same time. We've seen them
looking at these DTs, I think she might lose her third base. Oh, nope. She has an overseer in time.
Just kidding. And there are queens right around the corner that could have transfused, so Scarlett playing it well. There is that base, though, still at the top left-hand position. But it looks like Puck is just going to max out here. He is right now at 162 supply to 161, so a good position for the Protoss to be in. But at some time or another, he has to start giving up these Zealots, because Zealots become very, very ineffective, or this many Zealots becomes very ineffective as the supplies grow and grow.
I wish we'd seen a second Forge come down from Puck as well. I don't think he's gotten any attack upgrades yet. I think he's just kind of saying, well, I can't keep up with the Carapace upgrades at this point anyway, so I'm just not going to go for the attack upgrades.
Yeah, and just rely on the AoE, and of course, the High Templars, the Storm just disregards.
What do you think about that? Because against the Ultralists, you don't really need the damage, because the Immortals already have a pretty big buff against them, and against the Zerglings, if you have the Psystorm, I think Puck's just hoping to splash damage them down so they can't do too much.
I'm not a big fan of it. I think the plus upgrades are very, very important just to eventually keep up, and then, of course, having that extra boost to Immortals. I mean, a 30% increase in damage against Ultralists, that's a massive, massive advantage. We've seen that from Contamination, but here it is, the big attack coming in here, and the Ultras just will not die, even though there are Immortals there. They're being constantly transfused, and you can see so many Queens in the back there. They need to be feedback, but they're just not being affected. And now pushing all the way in here, the Ultras are just wrecking everything, constant transfuse. On top of the same Ultralist, it looks like he's going to be able to break through and start doing damage against those Immortals, which he desperately needs to do. 36 Zerglings and 4 Ultras inside the production tab, having to back up all the way to the natural base. That means the third will die, and Puck is going to go down here. Oh my god, I felt like Puck played such a great game. But inevitably, I mean, he's not going to be able to stand up to these Ultralists.
Yeah, I liked how Puck played this in a lot of ways, but he just made a couple incorrect choices here. I think instead of making such a Zealot-heavy army, he should have got 2 Forges and 2 Robos, and just made a lot of Immortals.
Yeah.
And Immortals, they don't cost that much gas. It's kind of a mineral dump, the same way Zealots is. Although it takes a bit of gas, it's not too much. It's only 100 per Immortal. And I think this would have helped him a lot more.
I do too, and there it is, GG. You need that burst to effectively kill those Ultras.